guys, this is Siberian. Welcome to my first motovlog. So today I'm going to basically cover a couple of things about myself, about my bike, and hopefully give you guys some tips for new riders, and also compare the bike to the Yamaha R1 that recently released 2015 R1. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was the S1KRR. I have the 2015 model. My bike has the Sport and the Dynamic package. So basically what that means is I've got the quick shifter on it, I got the heated grips, dynamic traction control, and dynamic damping control. Now, you can read up on those basically by yourself, but essentially what it means is the bike kind of rides almost like a magic carpet ride, essentially. So it's got a whole slew of electronics, extremely rideable. For a 1000cc machine, this thing handles basically like a knife through butter. I mean, it's absolutely amazing in terms of how the turn-in is, in terms of the suspension setup, simply because it, obviously adjusts as you ride. Now, as far as going back to my original R1, which was an 07 R1, this bike just handles impeccably, and I mean, for a beginner rider, being able to pull back on the throttle and not have the bike flip over on you is pretty significant. I mean, I'm sure it's in part due to the fact that I have this thing still set to rain mode, so it's limited to, I think, about 140 horsepower right now, but it's still not too bad, and you definitely still feel the machine pulling, that's for sure. Now, to talk about some of you guys that are short riders, so me, myself, I'm 5'6", and so not very tall, but I can actually almost flat foot the bike occasionally if I really try. It depends on the road conditions. Mostly I'm tippy-toeing, and looks like I'm going to be taking off here. These guys are not really riding too well. I'm sure someone's going to pull out right here in front of me. And, oh, yep, there it is. There it is, of course, as per usual. So what you want to look for is definitely the seat height is one of the most important things. So if the bike's seat height is higher than your inseam, you might want to consider getting a different machine, or trying out something that's gonna, make it so that you can actually flat foot the bike, meaning you can put your heels down as well as your toes. So that's gonna be important. But perhaps the other very important factor that a lot of people actually forget when they get on the bike is the seat width. So if you get on a machine and it just so happens that the seat's really wide, so for example, I can get on a Kawasaki ZX6R, but I do not feel very comfortable on a Yamaha R6, and the reason being that the ZX6R actually has a slimmer profile seat, so my legs are able to squeeze down much easier, and it's significantly easier therefore to actually stop on the bike and do basically any kind of low speed maneuvering. So that's really crucial if you're getting your new bike. Make sure to look for basically just a really slim seat. Now, the other reason that a lot of us motovloggers tend to go for the sport bikes, and specifically the Ninja 250 and say the 600s, is actually because of the fact that the bikes are pretty light. So the sport bikes tend to be in the lightest category of all the bikes out there, basically. I mean, unless of course you go a very low displacement machine or something like a small 125, 250cc Supersport. So getting a really top heavy bike, or just a heavy bike in general, as your first bike is highly not recommended, which is why basically leader bikes are typically not the bike you want to get as your starting bike. Now, of course, if you're a taller person, or if you had any kind of experience riding a two-tracked vehicle before, two-wheel vehicle before, then, the leader bike might be a good option for you. But that said, doing low-speed maneuvering, especially if you brake, you really want to be careful, because it's very easy to tip the bike over. And so that kind of goes with the next thing that I want to talk about, which is crown roads. Now, I do believe that SpacePod touched upon this before for us short riders. If we do come across a road where it tends to kind of drop off on one side because, you have rain runoff for the water, what you want to make sure to do before you actually stop is check to see which way the road dips, so that you make sure to place your foot on the other side of the bike. That way when you come to a complete stop, you don't just tip over and fall. Of course, extremely embarrassing. Don't want to be in that situation whatsoever. Now, something else is if you're a first-time rider and you decide to take your bike up into the hills, be extremely careful, because what happened to me, it was like, I think back in 2006 when I had my Ninja 250R, is basically I ended up going in the hills up in Los Altos, and there was a road that basically had, I want to say, like a 60% incline, and so I decided to go ahead and stop right there. And of course, next thing that happens is I try and pull out, and I'm still not used to using the clutch very much, and I just tip right over onto the side and start sliding backwards down the road. Now, thankfully there were no cars behind me, but that could have been pretty freaking bad. So that's a tip for you guys right there. Try to avoid hills as much as possible. If you do live in San Francisco, probably a good idea to go find a parking lot to practice on before you end up going on any of the hills and the roads. And the next thing is actually the low speed maneuvering is the part that's going to get you most. So if you do have a chance, you know, take the MSF course because it'll teach you a lot about that stuff. If you don't have the chance to do so, then, you know, perhaps it's a good idea to try out somebody else's bike first. Or if you do just purchase your bike right then and there, you know, go ahead and take it to the nearest parking lot or a road where you've got plenty of space and no cars to practice your clutching in and clutching out, and also braking as well. Because basically anybody can ride a bike fast. The problem starts when you're slowing down. And that takes me to my next point, which is that if you're in a parking lot and you decide that you need to stop, do not press your front brake if your wheel is turned, because what's going to happen is you're going to probably panic brake and just drop the bike right on the side. So, you know, just take it easy, make sure that you ride the clutch. You know, it's not a car, so using the clutch a lot is kind of part of just being a motorcycle rider. So get used to using the clutch a ton and don't be afraid of burning it out. It's a non-issue whatsoever. So as for me, I figured I might as well kind of let you guys know why I decided to pick the name Siberian. It is actually because I was born in Siberia, and so, you know, it's still kind of one of those things that's pretty close to my heart. And I figured I'd name myself after the region because that's where a lot of my family is actually still back at. My grandma's still in the area, and my uncle and aunt and stuff. And, you know, I figured it'd be a great name for the channel as well. It actually sounds kind of cool. So I don't know what you guys think. If you guys have named yourselves after a certain area that you like, or if you just chose your name randomly, you know, just let me know in the comments below. I kind of want to find out what you guys' take on this is. Now, as far as the BMW goes technologically, this is one of those things that I wanted to talk about for a while. Is I almost feel like this is one of those machines that is like the last super bike you will need for probably the next decade. And the reason that I say this is because you've got titanium valves in the bike, you got an aluminum frame, you got an aluminum gas tank. You know, you're able to get this bike with the forged aluminum wheels. Now, I mean, I didn't go for the forged aluminum wheels because I want to actually go with magnesium, but it's still a fairly lightweight bike considering all the parts that are on it, and considering the fact that you've got a semi-active suspension that adjusts to the way you ride. You got traction control in the corner, you got ABS and ABS in the corner, as well as, you know, 200 horsepower at your disposal. This is one of the safest machines that you can get out there, and plus the amount of power that this thing makes, it's going to be very difficult to beat for quite a while. Now, do I see electric bikes as competition for this machine? You know, absolutely. But I feel like electric bikes are still going to be kind of in their own sort of basically spot. I mean, I don't see them as being the crown that everyone, you know, claims them to be right now. I mean, sure, you've got instant access to torque, and they're extremely fast, and battery technology is going to get much better, but there's just something about not having that sound as you pull on the throttle that I think is really going to turn off quite a few people from them as sports enthusiasts, at least in the beginning. So I don't think that's going to work out so well. As for, you know, other internal combustion engine bikes, you've already got Yamaha doing things like fracture split titanium connecting rods in their engine, which make the rods really light. So I think that's definitely the next kind of evolution as far as lightening the engine, is more use of titanium. And certainly the same thing goes for the exhausts. I'm sure there's going to be more and more people, you know, getting titanium and possibly Inconel exhaust, and I'm not sure if I'm actually saying that right. And holy crap, I'm pretty sure I'm actually lost. I don't think I was supposed to take that turn back there. Let's see. Crap. I was not expecting this whatsoever. I don't even know where I am right now. I'm probably going to have to break out all my stuff and see where this goes. I'm actually trying to make it over to my girlfriend's house right now, and it's the first time I've taken this route from my new house, so I guess we'll just have to see how this goes as it is right now. Well, who'd have guessed? My camera is acting super wonky right now too. Holy crapola! Get it done! Alright. I have no clue where the hell I am. Alright guys, well it looks like it's going to be time to get going here. Finally managed to figure out where the heck it is that I'm supposed to go. So let's see where this takes us. So anyway, as I was saying before, you know, titanium and use of titanium in these bikes is going to be like the biggest thing that's going to hit for quite a while. I think once carbon fiber gets cheaper, that's going to be the next big thing as well. But also along those same lines, I think there's a company called Spiber in Japan that makes Japanese basically spider silk parts, and these happen for cars as well as, you know, bikes. And so it's just a matter of, holy shit, what the hell? Oh shit! Oh no 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 no! Crap! I had a feeling that thing was gonna fall off. Ah, damn it! It's just been like a constant fail today. I don't know how this is freaking possible. Like, I get lost, things have been dropping, it took me like a good hour to get out of the house, and now this. Okay. I think it just... Yep, there it is. There it is. Let's check this thing out. Looks like it's still okay, so shouldn't be too big of a deal getting this back in the backpack. God, I'm really sorry about this, guys. This has like been the worst vlog ever, probably, as far as the first vlog goes. Let's see here. Gotta get this thing back inside. Man, just fails all around today. Holy crap. At least I haven't dropped my bike yet, so there is that, I suppose. Let's get going here. Alright guys, well, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is also if you guys have seen the new Honda bike that got released, which is a track bike. They actually use something called sand-casted crankcase, and this thing is very close to a basically milled billet casing. And that's, you know, something else that's probably going to improve in the next couple of years, is the type of casting methods used on these bikes to make sure that they're very light. So once that happens, and god damn it, I just stalled my bike. Holy crap, I'm just not paying enough attention today. So these bikes, they're going to start having very low weight, and I'm sure that within the next decade they're probably going to drop to what the current weight of the MotoGP bikes is. Now, I don't believe that forced induction, like on the H2 and the H2R Kawasaki's, is going to be the big thing for internal combustion engine bikes. I think they're going to continue losing weight, they're going to continue improving electronically, and I also think that basically synthetic fuels and higher octane fuels are going to be basically the next thing for the internal combustion bikes as it is. Now with this BMW so far, I feel like the power, you really can't get a whole lot better than this. This bike just basically is a very fluid shifting machine. It's very mass centralized. As far as a lot of the other bikes that I've ridden, they tend to be pretty side heavy, top heavy I mean, and this one just basically isn't. I remember when I went into the dealership to actually check this bike out, there was a Daytona 675R, and this was a 2014 model I believe at the time. And, you know, the bike was very top heavy. Compared to this BMW, it was like ridiculous. As soon as you leaned it over, the thing basically fell. So this is completely different. The only thing I don't particularly like is when I took the slip-on off the bike recently and I weighed it, it turned out that thing is actually like 9 pounds. So the can on the end of this is ridiculously heavy, and it's probably going to be the first thing that I change. But, you know, for those of you guys who are still fairly new, this machine is still actually a pretty good choice. If you are moving up from a 250, you know, you're going to be fine on this bike, assuming, you know, you've got a level head, of course. That's kind of the primary thing. But I actually would not advocate against getting this bike for somebody who's a relatively new driver. You know, you definitely do feel like you're safe. I've had the ABS working for me so far recently when I've been going to work. So it has not been an issue whatsoever as far as riding it on the streets. It's very, very streetable. Now, something to consider at all is this machine in particular, it's not the most agile. So if you do decide to go with this bike, you know, if you're thinking like it's going to handle like any sort of smaller displacement bike out there, I would not expect this right away, especially if you don't end up going for something along the lines of like magnesium or forged aluminum wheels, or, you know, for that matter, even carbon fiber. So if you don't think that it's turning exactly well at highway speeds, that's the reason why, is that you've got some pretty heavy rims on this thing, and as a result, you know, it's going to take a little bit more effort to have some turn in. But overall, I feel that the steering geometry on this machine is spectacular, and I've been having nothing but fun riding it so far. And I'm actually just heading up into the hills right now. I'm going to be doing the Highway 17 ride, and you know, I think I'm probably going to split that off into a different vlog entirely, because this one's most likely going to take kind of a while by the time I'm done editing and everything like that. But it's going to be, what I think, like 7 years now since I've ridden this highway, so it's going to feel basically like a noob, especially on this new machine. But it's been handling just very smoothly so far, so I don't see myself having a problem riding it in the hills. The only thing that's going to be kind of different to get used to is the way the suspension on this thing handles, because it is quite completely different. So far, if you guys, you know, if you ended up liking the video, if you feel like I was talking too much, or if I feel like I was blabbering on, which most likely I was, feel free to let me know. I'm always open to suggestions, and I'm really hoping that I'll see you guys in my next motor vlog, or if I don't, that I see you in my, you know, next video, or possibly even on the road. I'm hoping to try and make it out to the Baker X Derrick meet happening in San Bernardino, as he calls it, on August 1st, so hopefully I'll see you all there. And if I don't, you know, shout out to those of you guys who will be there. I'm definitely going to see you, and this will probably go ahead and conclude the first part of my vlog, so I'll see you all out there.